Hey guys, there's a really cool company called Gamebox Monthly that I'm kind of obsessed with. What is Gamebox Monthly, you ask? Well, it is a service that delivers indie tabletop games to your door every month. How cool is that? It's really cool. Let me tell you why. People are so consumed by devices and screens. We need face-to-face human connection. Come on. So it's a great way to discover new games together with the people that you love and care about, or even just remotely like, or maybe you don't like them at all. Maybe you'll get to like them after you play some of these tabletop games. You never know. It's a great way to re-engage your original social network. So go to gameboxmonthly.com and rediscover social.
Krista! Hey, are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Really? Because you seem a little...
I said I'm fine.
Okay, well, we all love you, so if you need to talk, we're...
I'm fine! Fine. Come on.
Hey guys, you are listening to I'm Fine with Krista Allen. That's me. Welcome to my new podcast, you guys. This is going to be really fun, and I'm so excited. I have a new home over at Dragon Wagon Radio, and I'm so excited to bring you along my new journey of self-helpery. Is that a word? I'm not even sure. I am so excited right now because this is my very first show with I'm Fine with Krista Allen. We used to be a different name. So fucked up, it's funny. So I'm not fucked up anymore. I'm fine, which is great. And today I have one of my favorite soul sisters on the planet. I have Charisma Carpenter with me today. Say hi, Charisma.
Hi, Krista.
I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
I am
for
too.
you.
I'm excited that she's like my first guest, and it's going to be really fun. Now, today we are doing, when I called Charisma and asked her to do this, I was like, do you have any books that you really love? And she gave me 2 books that I have never heard of before. And I was like, let's do those. Like, I'll check it out. I'll look at it. And somebody that literally, if you guys saw my Amazon account and the number of self-help books that are in there, you would think I was crazy, or you would know I was crazy.
No,
and
you're fine.
I'm fine. But this book that we're doing, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. It's a guy named Randy Pausch.
Correct.
And it is called, Charisma, it is
The Last Lecture.
The Last Lecture. And the cool thing about this book, well, it's not even cool. It's actually kind of sad. This guy had pancreatic cancer and wrote this book and gave this amazing lecture at Cornell University. And 2 months after the book was published, he passed away. This book was written to help people, but it was also, which is like the tearjerker part for me, he wrote it for his 3 kids. And I think it's wonderful. And there's all of these things that, as his kids were young and they could grow up and they could always go back to this book and learn these lessons that dad left for them. And it's also helped thousands and thousands and thousands of people transform their lives or think better and more positive about their lives. And it's called The Last Lecture. The guy is super funny, which I love about him. And anyway, the major points of this book include like taking time to dream, the importance of good parents in a child's life, and how to put people before materials. I have failed at all of these. So Charisma, tell me, we want to talk about this because I sent you a list of like things that I thought were like the lessons of the book.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then when you came in, I was like, did you see what I sent you? And you're like, yeah, I wanted to talk to you about that. So tell me what you think.
Sure. I feel like the things that I got from the book may have been different from you. And that's what's so great about it, because I responded to the emotional side of things and you responded to the leadership qualities of the things.
Ooh.
Like the business side of things and how to approach things. And it kind of makes sense where we're both at in our lives, because you're focused on that aspect.
Super career focused right now.
You're really into the leadership aspect of one's life, or the kind of qualities it takes in a person to be a good leader and to be successful.
Right.
And for me, I'm always thinking in those parameters as well, but I responded more to other things. I have a list of quotes.
Yeah,
but,
tell me.
It's so funny. I've read this book probably 10 times over again, and I always get something different from it.
And the way that Charisma, the way that you found this book is it's from your dad, right?
No, Ogmandino's The Last
Oh,
Salesman. Yeah,
the
the
other
greatest
one.
salesman in the world is from my
Okay.
dad. I don't know how I found this. How I found
Really?
this
I
book.
thought they were both from your dad, and I thought
No,
your
I
dad
gave
is really
this to my
cool.
dad.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, we
okay.
share books a lot. My dad's a big reader. But one of the things that I think that you pointed out to me about leadership, the talking points that you had brought up to me about leadership, I can say this quote is in that vein, which is the brick walls are there for a reason. The brick walls are
Yes.
not there to keep us out. The brick walls are there to give us a chance to show how badly we want something, because the brick walls are there to stop the people who don't want it badly enough. They're there to stop the other people.
I know. I love that. And
The other people.
I watched his lecture on this and I thought it was really cool. And it's like a good analogy as a brick wall or whatever, but we all hit a wall. My God, I hit so many brick walls all the time. And if that just means I need to jump over it because they're there to keep other people out, I don't really understand like that part of it though. Like it's there to keep other people out of what your dream.
No, what it means is brick walls are there because one of his best qualities described by himself is how tenacious he is.
Right.
So when you hit a brick wall, it just means I need to find a new way to get to the other side, whether it's over, around, through, get a chisel, whatever it takes. I have the tenacity to get to the other side. The other people are going to use that wall as an excuse to not continue and not follow through.
Oh, so to keep other people out. Okay, thank you for explaining that to me. I really appreciate it. I feel like I just learned something. You should totally give a lecture on this. I love that idea. Here's the thing. Okay, so
if everybody could do it, they would. If everybody could do it, if everything was easy, everybody would be doing it. The whole
Right.
point of doing the impossible, especially like in a field in which we've worked,
yeah.
the percentage, we're like 1%. We're like half percenters. Like it's very
Right,
rare
right.
to have made it, you made a film and you've done so much television. You have so much acting behind you. I'm just going to use that as our commonplace.
And I've had 18,000 relationships. Does that count?
Of course it does.
Kidding.
It doesn't. It does. It's not failures, and that's another thing that Randy says. What it's all about. It's all about looking at its perspective. I mean, you can think of something as, oh, the relationship didn't work out means that I failed. It doesn't.
Right. Of course. No, I'm just, yeah, it's like I was just counting my
know.
accolades
I know.
in life. But I get what you're saying. And it's true. He wrote this, in 2008? Was that right? Or something like that? Does that sound about right?
I'm not sure when he wrote it.
I'm not sure when he wrote it either. But like
I can look it up.
what it kind of triggers in me, what I'm like, these are all wonderful, wonderful things. And I get it. It's a great way to think. And it's such on a human level of like, this is going to sound so deep, man, but it's like, it's such on a human level of the blocks that we put up in the brick walls that we create or believe in our own lives that are there, but they're not even our brick walls to begin with. They may be things that people have told us, our parents, we learn from our parents, or we learn from something else. And that's a brick wall that we go, I got to find a way to get around this. I got to do it. But really, that brick wall might not even exist. And I don't know, like for me, I am in such a different.
Give me an example for you. Like share a part of your life where it wasn't your brick wall. It was something someone else imposed on you.
Let's just go emotionally on that one because that's the easiest one for me to tap into. So say it was, I'm not enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's a brick wall. And that brick wall is going to go into every single piece of my life, my relationships, my friendships, my work, because I'm always going to feel like I'm not enough. And maybe that was something that as a child or in any capacity, I mean, I can say for sure with my family and the way I was brought up, I never felt like I was enough. But that wasn't my brick wall. That was something that somebody else like kind of imposed on me, and I took it through my life. But when we are able to like kind of add to all of these lessons that he does and expanding on those, it's kind of like it's looking at those brick walls and wondering if that was even something you built, or it's something that was kind of built for you, or something that you added to along your life that has made it this fortress.
Well, at some point in time, you had to agree with it. to become the wall. You know
Well,
what I mean?
yeah,
At some
but
point in time, if you're told something enough, you're going to start to believe it.
And a belief is just a thought you keep thinking. And if you keep thinking that
And it
thought,
becomes real.
Yeah, and it becomes real, but it's just a belief because it's just a thought that you keep thinking, which I think what he's saying is those brick walls are those negative, shitty belief systems that you're brought up with or things
be
that may be
anything.
new. And maybe, who knows what it could be. I've had so many different experiences with different things where I felt like they could be anything. You walk into a room and somebody doesn't really say hi to you and automatically you think that person's mad at them and you spin into a place and it has nothing to do with you. And all of these like insecurities and vulnerabilities, but at the end of the day, it really has nothing to do with anybody else. It's like, what are you thinking? Would it exist
Well,
if
he
you didn't
talks
think
about
it?
taking things personally.
And which I wanted to get to also.
It's so hard.
It's so hard. That's
It's
one of the
so hard.
one of my other things that I was talking that I had written down. Not taking things personally. I think you and I both do that. Like we are both so sensitive, like in nature, just to energies, to other people, and
which is great, because we're actresses.
yeah,
but
not so great.
But
Yeah.
it can have some downfalls in the other areas.
Oh my gosh. Charisma and I have gotten into arguments before just based on attention alone. Like just based on just paying attention or showing up for each other or me feeling personal, me getting upset that she wasn't around or her getting upset that I wasn't around. And it goes into this place where when you love somebody as a friend, as anything, and you have experienced even just a slight bit of just some of these things like abandonment issues or any of that other stuff, it manifests a lot bigger when you're in a relationship with somebody, whether it's a friend or a lover or a kid. Do you experience that? Because Charisma has a
Oh
son.
my God.
So how do you experience that with D?
110%. I
Like
mean,
what?
so many examples. I embarrass him. Like, for instance, I picked him up from school and I was starving. So we have a tradition of going to this particular restaurant on Tuesdays in Brentwood. And I picked him up from school and I needed to eat right away and I didn't have time to drive the distance to the I mean, I had time, but I was like, I'm really hungry.
You're starving. You're going to eat your
go,
arm off.
Can
Yeah.
we just go right here in the what does he call it? Because I don't live where he lives. The little area that he has,
Where the Starbucks
village.
is. Yeah.
There's it's a village.
Yeah.
And so he's like, can we? And I'm like, can we just go here? And he's like, no. And I'm like, why? And he goes, all of my friends are there right now.
Oh my God.
And so like that's a really tame version. It has several layers, I think. So I have
Awful.
the range of you embarrass me or please don't sing or don't raise your arms and don't dress like that or don't, he judges like how they say that children are an extension of our egos.
Yeah.
I feel like that it goes the other way too, because if I were in his world, I have to conduct myself and dress a certain way for him to just be okay with me to be seen
Really?
by his peers. For
Because
sure.
he doesn't, yeah. Which is,
He's a teenager
but you know what's really funny about that?
and he's a boy, so I didn't expect this.
right. You're like, don't you want your mom to be hot? What is going
No.
on? No, of course not. I'm
No.
kidding. I'm totally kidding. I have a son too. He's 20. I get this. I would get the same thing. But when my son was younger and he would get embarrassed about stuff, I remember walking him into school or any of these things or any of this stuff that he would get bummed out or embarrassed about. And I remember I would get in the car and I'd be so pissed because I was like, I just brought him such and such that he forgot and I'm here and whatever it is. And he's acting all embarrassed because I wanted to give him a hug. And I'm like, let's see how embarrassed you feel tomorrow when you show up naked, completely starving and homeless because I am giving you all of these things.
Yeah.
And you're going to be embarrassed of me. I mean, I would never say that to Jake, but I felt it. I would get like all mad.
It's hard. I think more than any boyfriend, more than any girlfriend, more than I think where my son is concerned, it's totally my Achilles heel. Like I am definitely sensitive to relationships and with men.
Yeah.
But my relationship with my son the way he treats me, if he hurts my feelings,
It's devastating.
probably the worst.
I am with you 1,000% on this. The other day, something happened with me and my son. We never argue. We are so close, but those moments, if he, I'm going to use this word,
Crush you
disrespects me in some way, or not that he, or just like is angry or snappy at me, it's like an arrow through my heart, and it's like it's crazy. But to teach him on the same side with the most important thing, and now we're getting into this other stuff, but I think it is about it is part of what he's talking about being a good parent and giving them freedom, but also not enabling the behavior and going, hey, what do you don't talk to anybody like that,
100%,
and letting that go, and then they get more mad at you anyway, and then
well, that's just it. Like, as we kind of transition into the parenting part of the book and creating space for a child to, to instill confidence in them by going, have you got this? I trust you, whatever. I think there's almost more power in saying those things to our kids.
Yeah.
And it inspires more confidence in them to make the right decisions rather than being an overbearing parent, which is where I lean.
I am too. I'm a smother. I'm not even a mother.
I'm not a smother. Like, I tend to be more authoritative.
You are. I've seen you with him, and you really are.
So I'm very big on respect.
Yeah.
And I will say you're being disrespectful, and I don't apologize for it because I don't want to be my kid's friend, but I also want him to love me to pieces.
Right.
So it's a very fine line. And also I'm not married, and I don't have the father figure in the same household. So I feel like I have this very complicated position of being male energy and being about respect and about time and about work ethic. And then also, hey, I'm still your mom. And when you speak to me like this, it also simultaneously disrespects me and hurts me to the core. Like and he's going, huh? Which is it? Are you tough cookie or are you mushy mom?
Right. You're like, I'm both because I'm a woman and there's 18 more personalities that are going to come flying at you. But it's
if you haven't met them all yet,
you just
you're
wait.
about to be introduced to several more because you're a teenager.
No, but it's true, which is the thing about not taking it personal. So when there's another book out there about, that says don't take things personal, but I think it is the hardest thing, especially when we've invested so much time and love, and we have an expectation.
We're responsible for them, and we want them to be independent and self-sufficient and self-reliant and confident, and to not get stepped on in life, and
everything that has happened to us. And so we are absolutely like, I don't want you to ever experience the pain that I have felt, but if you are, I let you do that, and I'm here for you.
It's a fine line.
It is.
Parenting is hard.
This is parenting is hard, but it's also
to do it,
amazing,
right? To be invested. I mean, yes, there's more to life than just bearing the child,
Right.
If you want to do it well and you want to raise well-adjusted people.
No, I think my mom thought she was just going to like pop me out, and I was going to be like I just eat when I was hungry. I was like a dog. She was like, here you go. I think she microchipped me at some point. Just let it be. She was like, I don't know. At least I can find her. I'm kidding. Charisma's looking at me like I'm crazy.
No.
So there's another one in here that I love as well. One of the points. Hold on. Where is it? I love it so good. So much. I mean, there is. Oh, this is it. This is the one. This is the one that I love. Why do people criticize me so much? That's a problem that he talks about. And I really love this concept because I seem to criticize my son sometimes, and other people.
Never.
And other people maybe.
Well, first of all, let's talk about what does criticism mean to you?
Criticism, well, it can be constructive, and I am all for constructive criticism. If you told me something,
Give me an example of you criticizing Jake that he takes offense. Like what's the hardest criticism?
God, you know what? I'm probably not as critical as I think I am. I think I'm super sensitive. But like if I'm like, Jake, you didn't send those emails out. You didn't do this. Is
that criticism?
Is it not? Is it nagging? Is it criticism? It's kind of the same thing, right? Jake, you didn't do that. If you're gonna do this, blah blah blah. Like I think it's He doesn't
I
live
think
with me anymore.
criticism is sort of a personal attack on how they went about or approached a task,
Maybe it's okay. So
less than not doing the task.
he doesn't say constructive criticism in here, and I think that might be a
He's
missing key word.
incredibly critical. Like I had a ballet teacher that was critical as all get
Oh,
out.
ballet teachers are the worst.
Well, and like he was a professor at Carnegie Mellon in computer science. So they dealt with a lot of teamwork. They dealt with how to approach programming and data and code writing and all of this difficult stuff. And so the criticisms would be like, you have to do it like this, kind of like a Steve Jobs type
right,
personality.
right,
And it wasn't until he got, his diagnosis that he didn't realize what a dick he was.
right.
And then he wrote the book.
And then he goes, "Oh my God, I'm a dick." Let me
Well, I
write
think he
it.
had
Yeah.
some key indicators, but he
Yeah.
ignored them because, there comes a point in time in life where you're like, well, that dickness in my personality has led me to this, extreme success in this one area.
Right.
So I'm going to ignore this other bit because so what if I haven't met the love of my life yet and I'm 900 years old and you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And my approach in dealing with women is dickish or whatever. Because
Right.
I am a professor at Carnegie Mellon, I've written all this code. Da 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 da.
Right.
But what he realized,
He was too big for his britches.
yeah. But so everything
sounds
that
like
he
my
writes
grandmother.
about is kind of like there's something more important to me that I find more valuable when somebody is speaking about a certain behavior, because this is what the difference is between criticism is like he's talking about himself and how he's had the wherewithal and
Right.
the retrospect to go, this is how I used to be, don't be like this.
Yeah, it's called wisdom. It's his testimonial saying this. What I love about this is it's like, why do people criticize me so much? And the solution is getting criticized is the best thing that can happen to you. It means that someone wants you to improve. If nobody criticizes you, it means people have simply given up, and that's the worst thing that can happen to you.
Yeah, if
and
they
I
don't
looked
care,
at that.
they're not invested anymore. If they
Right.
wouldn't say something to you unless they cared and they thought that there was.
But isn't like, let's kind of look at this for a second. I get,
But when
this,
you're on
it's
that
great.
end of it, when you're on the receiving end of it, it doesn't feel like that.
No, it doesn't, because then you take it personal. And it's like, so there's like this whole thing. I think I love the idea of it though, because it's true. Like, I will use this with somebody at some point when they're like, if I am trying to help somebody, but it's also unsolicited advice could be a form of criticism too.
Sure.
Do you want my advice? And they're like, no. And you're like, okay, so maybe there's like a criticism within that. And I think the people that I do it mostly to are the people that I'm closest to, because I'm not gonna.
Well, you're a
yeah,
fixer.
I'm a total
You
fixer.
are totally about solution.
Yeah.
So then there comes a point in time, because I've been on the receiving end. We've had so many deep conversations,
Yeah.
interpersonal relationships
much.
and stuff like that. Like we know our stuff between each other. And I know that about you. So when I go to you about something, I have to know that there's going to be that component to our dynamic or our conversation. There's going to
Right.
be an exchange of ideas about what happened and like where it went haywire,
Mhm.
so that then we don't repeat the same behavior. And I think that that's a great quality to have.
Yeah.
And that isn't something that you learn until you go through. I think it's a certain amount of maturity
yeah.
to talk to someone like you about a problem, because you have to know that it's coming from a place of experience.
Right.
You do a lot of self-help
I do
work
a
on
lot.
yourself.
Yeah.
I guess that's redundant, but you are on the journey and the path of work,
Right.
self-work.
Right.
And I think when you're dealing with somebody that's educated in that way, you're going to get somebody that's not going to you want empathy, but
I'm
I
a
don't-
velvet hammer, is what I am.
Yeah, that's a really good way of putting
Yeah.
it. Because you want somebody to empathize with what you're going through, but I don't necessarily want somebody to wallow in it with me.
Right.
Because then there's no I don't
A lot of
want
people do,
more
though.
people in
Yeah.
my pit. I do want to hand out.
Like, what is the solution?
up.
How can I get out of it? It's so hard when you're in it. And I think it works for me. What I give what I would want. So if I'm going to somebody with a problem that I'm like, or an issue or a challenge, and I'm like, same thing. I don't want to wallow in it. I don't want people like, oh my God, that happened to me too. And oh God, I don't need
It's
that.
important to have empathy and to say like, I identify, but this is why, and this
Yeah.
is how I did. This is
I'm
how
like,
I got out
have
of it.
20 minutes for this conversation and I'm super busy. So can we just solve my problems now? Thanks. That's how I feel. I'm like, let's just keep going. but but I think that's true, and it's I have to watch myself sometimes.
No.
But I do with certain friends that I have. I have some really super sensitive friends that do like the pit of wallow, and they only want the empathy, and they have learned not to come to me, because I will absolutely go to solution and go, I hear what you're saying, but this is what I see. This is what this or whatever. And I've learned to ask the question, do you want to hear my advice or no?
Right.
And it's always yes. And then somehow, they always kind of go through and
do you take that personally that they stop coming to you?
No, I'm no. Like, I can't believe no, I'm happy because it's like I want to be there, but I always want to be at a higher vibration and I want to help lift people to a higher vibration. So you can keep telling the same sad story or you can tell one that's a little better. And what I try to get people to is the one that's just a little bit better, that feels a little better. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel and it's not a train. And, and that's where I like to get people to when I'm talking to people. My God, though, Charisma, think about it. We've had conversations before where I've been in the wallow and just been like, I can't even talk to you for 2 weeks because I don't want to, I'm so not. Do you remember this was like a year and a half ago or something? I was like, I literally can't talk to anybody. I'm going to go underground for like 2 weeks.
That's always sketchy, as your friend.
You hated that. Yeah. You were like, I don't like it. I don't like it. And I was like, no, because
you got to talk. You got to talk it through.
I know. And that was me. That was me at a very low self-wallowing, but I didn't want to pull anybody in with me. I was like, it is up to me to change
what's
it.
What's important, what I hear out of what you're saying is less that you didn't want to pull anybody in. You probably, because you are, I know this about you. You don't want to talk to somebody until you figured it out.
Yeah, that's true. Or
you really don't, because you don't want anybody to think that you can't handle it, or I don't know.
I don't want to pull anybody in.
That's it, as much as I just feel like you have to have like an upside, and you're like, this is how it's going, but this is what I'm doing about it, and this is it. And I want to say to you as your friend, and often I've felt like saying, like, you don't have to sell me on your solution. It's okay to call me when you're not in solution, because two heads are better than one.
Figure it out. And that is being in a receiving mode that I'm just learning.
You're not familiar with it.
But
you're not good at asking for help or being on the receiving end of advice.
I haven't been.
But you're getting better.
I am. And it's been amazing. And I have been able to reach out a lot easier and go, yeah, I really don't know what the F I'm going to do. Like, I have no idea. And I'll receive it. And I'm like, oh, that actually felt really good. And there's some solutions. And there's like this old saying, and it's not even old. I don't even know if it's a saying. But it's like you can't be fearless alone. And I love that idea that you actually do need people around and being able to, you know what I mean? Like, fearless, you can be fearless, but it feels so much better if you have a group of people around you,
right.
like
which you do.
And I have an amazing group of people around me. What are some, but I just loved that about the not taking it personally juxtaposed to, criticism actually means we care. And then how do you like put the two together? Like I'm not going to take it personally that you're criticizing me, but I know that you care.
I feel like it really, I was in a situation whose name will remain anonymous, but I was in a situation where I had said something really, really stupid, and they petted me.
Oh.
And they said, it's okay, honey. Like
you're pretty.
Yeah.
Like you're so pretty.
And it was meant to be, because this person is a very funny person. They were trying to be funny, but it was like the second time.
Right.
And I just had to say, I feel like you're criticizing me and you are condescending to me.
Right.
And I just want to stop it now because it doesn't feel good.
And he's like, I'm kidding.
It was a girl.
Oh, and she's like, I'm kidding.
No, she said, I hear that.
Oh, okay, good.
It's really important to kind of like, rather than hold on to the resentments, to actually just kind of cut it in the middle and just go, just so you know, that doesn't feel good to me. And I'm sure you don't mean it this way, but this is the way it feels to me, and I don't like it.
I love that too so much. Not a lot of people do. Not a lot of people can
like
have that conversation where
it's confrontational.
But it's also, hey, I'm not mad at you. It doesn't feel good. And just, okay, cool. And it's funny when you were saying, you're like, this person's a very funny person, which I'm sure that she is, and she's really funny. But one of the rules of being funny is both people laugh. So
Yes.
like, you know what I
Both-
mean?
don't laugh at me. Don't make the joke. Don't make me the brunt of your joke because then
Yeah.
it's not funny anymore.
Yeah.
So speaking to that about apologies, one of the things he says, a good apology is like an antibiotic. A bad apology is like rubbing salt in the wound. How many people do you know that do not know how to give a proper apology
All of them.
or don't say
Yes.
I'm sorry?
Yes.
That
Yes.
is such a huge thing to me.
Yes.
Like it
it's
will make or
huge.
break a relationship.
it's like-
male, female, like my girlfriend or a man. Like
Yes.
I literally will not respond until the apology comes
Yes.
correct.
Or it's
like,
like,
no, I can't. That's not it.
Yes.
Nope. That's
Nope.
not the right text either.
Yes, yes.
Nope. Okay, I'm still waiting.
I'm still waiting.
Okay.
And then they text you and they're like, I'm sorry if my forced apology seemed insincere. You know, you're like,
I'm sorry you took it this way. That's always good.
Yeah.
No, that doesn't. No, what are you saying?
That's the worst
I really try to
apology.
do that with my son and teach my son what a proper apology is.
Yeah.
And also, like,
Me too.
when I have an injury, I try to be extremely clear on what I'm injured about. And
You mean injured emotionally?
well, when there's a need for an apology,
Right. I see. Right.
I have to explain to someone, and I'm just so freaking thorough. It's like, I don't know. I don't even know. I really want my side of the street clean. I really
Yeah.
do. I really want to live like as authentically as possible. And even if it's warts and all, it's just sort of like, this is where I'm at. This is how this made me feel. And then if I don't get an acknowledgement of that and there's no apology, that tells me everything I need to know about that human being.
Or that it tells you everything you need to know. Okay, I'm going to blow your mind right now. What if it tells you everything that you need to know in that moment because your brick wall is a belief system that isn't really there, and there's something there's something on the other side where that person isn't capable because of their brick wall. Does anybody following me here? Mind blown. No, do you know what I mean? Because so say if somebody doesn't apologize, it's not that they don't love you. It's that they may not have the capacity to do it,
which
they
tells
simply
me
don't
everything
see
I
it.
need to know about that person. You know what I mean? And then sometimes
I see what you're saying. You're not going to go in and try to teach them and go, look, I need an apology. You're just going to go, boom, be gone.
I'm not necessarily I'm not into disposing of people. I mean,
Except
you have
bodies you can dispose of. Because
well, that's a whole other.
a whole other thing.
That's a whole other
It'll
podcast. But I'm not really into disregarding. I have to have really been in the trenches and fought really hard for me to just the injury has to be so incredibly cut and deep that for me to end a friendship or a relationship with somebody or to cut off. Rarely, I'm mostly still in touch with a lot of people that were my friend or I was in a relationship with, and then we've maintained a friendship. But I can't say that I'm a big fan of cutting people out, but yeah, if I find that there is a person in my life that can't come with some basic fundamental skill sets,
Yeah.
I don't really need them in my life.
But haven't you
and
noticed?
apologizing
Yeah.
is a big one.
I love the apology so much, and I'm also the first one to
Accountability.
give it. I'm almost overly apologetic if I
Are you?
screw up.
Are you one of those? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
well,
bump into. I'm sorry.
I'll see everything that I could have done, and you know what? Honestly, it's because I want it back. And if I'm in an argument
Right.
with somebody, it's not because I want it back. That's the wrong way to say it. But I think I'm looking for a common way to be closer with that person through getting through a situation and us both being accountable and going, okay, cool. Like we both learned something.
Do you know?
I think that's called codependency. I'm pretty sure.
I don't think so.
Really?
No, I think that's just basic fundamentals.
But just that we
relationship
care
stuff.
so much about it, like the relationship. I wonder if there's a bit of control.
I just care about having an authentic experience where two grown-ups can go when there's discourse or things have gone haywire, where you can, without volume, just improved argument, say,
Improved argument. I love that.
that where you can just, argument, maybe it has a negative connotation, but just to be able to express yourself in an authentic way. Like, it really hurt my feelings when, not you're an asshole, like
Of
blaming.
course.
And whenever you go, when you were on the phone and you did that and, you were ignoring me. Like, I'm not a big fan of deflection.
Yeah, me too.
Because, like, let's not talk about the other. Let's just talk about this.
Yeah.
And if you want to bring up the other, it's really good to do it in the moment, because I have no recollection of that.
Right.
And I can't speak to the past, but I can speak to this right now. I
Right.
just want a grown-up situation.
Right. But it's
But
also,
people can't.
and I'm hearing this because I want the same thing, but it's also a grown up situation based on what we think is right. So, and the way that we think humans should be, and the way that we think life should be. So, if there's
I think a majority, I don't think it's that far off. I really don't, Krista. I really don't. I think there are just a lot of us are walking around with our stuff, and there just has to be room to give those people that space to have their stuff. But what has to be is a very fundamental skill set.
right.
I'm sorry, this
Yeah.
is my stuff, not yours.
But if
I'm working
people
on it.
Don't know how to do that. Like, I know somebody that is one of the closest people in my life who I love more than anything, that literally does not have the skill set to be able to really understand what happened from my side or from the other, like what is going on. And it's a fundamental issue. And it's like, it's been really hard, but I can also look back at this person's childhood
And you have
look at-
empathy.
and I go, I get it. But here's where I mess up so bad. I start to try to be a teacher to somebody that doesn't want to be taught.
Oh, I'm guilty of
Do
that.
you know? And that's where I think a lot of us script is he said
Now I
something
let
about
go.
this.
What
Doesn't
did
he?
he say?
I didn't write
are you
it down,
thinking?
but there was something that he talked about. It was about
About teaching people that don't want to be taught.
something about that, and I can't remember what it was. It wasn't those words though. Maybe it was about giving advice, or something like that. But I'm sorry, like I didn't write it down. It was about kids though. I feel like it was in the parenting section, but it was basically kind of what we were talking about before, giving unsolicited advice, and that's kind of like a criticism. So it kind of went into that, but. I think I love all of these. I love all of these concepts. I love everything that he talked about. I think there's ways to add and expand to it to make it current in terms of how I'm feeling, and they're all really great bullet points that you can expand on. And I really love it. And it was a really good book. And you guys out there that are watching, that are listening to this, you can get this guy's YouTube. Randy
Lecture.
Pausch, the last lecture on YouTube, and it's kind of fascinating, and he's kind of wonderful. I got really teary-eyed watching it, and and hearing his story. I think Diane Sawyer did a thing with him, and it was really cool. And I got really emotional about it all. You turn your life around, you write this amazing book, and you die. So, it was very cool.
Yeah, one of the things that I loved that he was talking about to his daughters was, when it comes to relationships, he says, believe nothing a man tells you and everything he shows you. And I think what the video you're talking about was taken from a farewell video from a dying father to his infant daughter on dating.
Yeah, that one was amazing. Yeah, those are all
This is
good.
another one that I really liked. And this is what I try to do. I try to, as I get older and more mature, I try to also give people the space to kind of figure things out
Yep.
on their own. And I think it's because I read this and I thought it was, and I've tried it and I thought, wow, that's way more powerful. Like when I have a girlfriend that doesn't like confrontation. I'm a one that likes, I can't just, what up, bitches? And like it's done and it's over.
Right.
I have to be the type of person, like I don't necessarily want to relive it, but I definitely want to acknowledge where we went wrong.
You want to be heard. I think that's
100% want to be heard, but I definitely just want to acknowledge like where the breakdown took place, so that then
You can learn and grow.
I can
Yeah.
because often my preconceived idea of how it went, like I had this happen with a girlfriend of mine, and about a dog. I wanted to rescue the dog. And she's like, well, I'm going to rescue it. And she beat me to the punch in rescuing this dog. And I was like,
She stole your rescue dog?
No, she did. She didn't. No, it wasn't my dog at all. But, it ended up working out the way that it worked out, and it was fine. But like the situation surrounding the circumstances was very different to her than it was to me.
Right.
And the perception is where it's all out. Like my perception is my truth, but is it the truth? I don't know. But I always want to hear and revisit the situation so that I can have a better understanding of like, oh, and now I understand how what I said and how I handled it would then injure you. And it's like a lesson.
Right.
But not a lot of people want to do that. But this is what he says. Wait long enough and people will surprise and impress. When you're pissed off at someone and you're angry at them, you just haven't given them enough time. Just give them a little more time and they almost always will impress you.
I can relate to that. I do that now. I definitely seem to do it. That's the thing that I don't do is most of my issues, I just thought of this. Most of my issues in my relationships with my romantic relationships are the lack of space when I need to communicate. I just want everything to be better immediately. I just want to get to that place. As I've started to walk away from it and going, it's all good. Like everything always works out or whatever it is. And walking away from it, giving that person space, it definitely makes it a lot better. Even 10 minutes away and going back to it and going, I actually don't need that much right now. I'm not as needy as I thought I was going to be. But tell me that like your girlfriend that like rescued the dog and you're like, I want the dog. And she's like, no, I want the dog. Tell me that you're going to go out to a bar with her and you're going to see a really hot dude that she likes. And she's going to be like, oh my God, that guy is so hot. And you're like, yeah, I think he's hot too. And then you start dating him. It's payback for the rescue dog.
She's in a solid thing, so good for her.
And she has a dog. No, I'm kidding.
She has a great dog. One of the other things he says is time is all you have, and you may find one day that you have less than you think.
Yes, that's so true.
So I think about so much energy, wasted energy that I put in time and I put in like even romantic relationships and trying to be patient and give space. But there also comes a point in time where you just have to walk away.
Absolutely. We've watched each other flounder pretty badly on certain situations.
I just want those 3 years back. And also I love this. And I think this is just speaks to me, to my heart, to my everything so much. If he only had 3 words of it, I can't even talk. If only he had 3 words of advice, they would be, do you remember what it was when you read it? No.
Be
Tell
good to yourself.
The truth.
Oh, that's right. I remember that now.
If got 3 more words, I'd add all the time.
I remember this. Yes, that is such a great one.
Really impacted me.
Yeah. I like that too. And it's funny.
I tell my son this all the time in raising him.
Yeah.
I don't care how bad it is. There's also a meme out there that talks about this. It's like, I would much rather be hurt by the truth than comforted by a lie. And I try to tell my son this all the time. I don't care how bad it is. I know, just give it to me because it'll be 10 times worse if I find out it wasn't
Absolutely.
true.
That happens with everything. And just to cushion that truth is the truth bomb is such a kind of an overwhelming thing if you've done something that you are lying about. And what I would tell Jake is this: I would rather have honesty than you don't have to tell me the full truth of every detail, but I do want honesty. And it made it so much easier for him to be able to say, this is what happened. I don't need to know the details of every single thing unless I need to know something like that. But when he was younger, I needed him to just be honest. Mm-hmm. The truth, I think, got into like every detail. I have to tell you everything. And I just needed to know what was going on. So it was funny because it opened up to the truth and just giving him a cushion of honesty as opposed to the truth. And that was a really cool thing. But I do believe like tell the truth all the time then you don't have to worry about it. Yeah. But it was just when you said that, I was just thinking about when I would talk to Jake about it and, he was going through his teenage years and there were things going on. And I was like, look, you don't have to tell me everything, man. Just be honest. And he was like, oh, I can do that. You know? Oh, okay. That feels a lot better, you know? So I don't know. That was my thing.
I was just thinking about how even while I'm dating, I think that I get myself in these situations and you're dating with somebody and you find that they like you more than you like them. I just say like I don't think I'm feeling what you're feeling, or mainly that.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, thank you.
Right. It's a good way to do it. And it's nice.
But
It's nice when it's the other way too.
But they say, some of the dudes that I talk to, they say that girls just don't say it. They just like ghost, or they, guys and girls are kind of cruddy to each other. I don't think it's one-sided.
Yeah.
But I always do appreciate just being like, what do you want? Okay, well, what do you want? Okay, well, we're at an impasse because I can't give you this. I'm not at that place.
Right.
Like, can we just all be grown-ups and deal?
I think it's true. I think girls do a little bit of the ghosting at the beginning because they don't want to hurt the guy's feelings, and the guys do the ghosting after they have sex. So
And then
maybe
they're like, bye.
And then you're like, I don't know, we just had the most amazing night. Oh my God, it was amazing.
And I
think
haven't
he
heard
really
from him
likes
in
me.
4 days.
Yeah. And then it's like, I don't know what's happening. Oh my God, he just liked all these girls' pictures on Facebook.
Okay, can we just, social media is the
The
vine
worst
of my
thing in the
existence.
Oh my God.
It's the worst.
Definitely Randy Pausch did not say anything about social media
Well,
because I
there
wasn't around then.
It
But
wasn't much.
if he did, you know what? If there were 3 important words, it would be don't stalk him. Never. Or,
Stay off social media.
Yes. That's like definitely been a downfall. Everything is changing. Everything is changing. And like even with these books, when I was talking about like with Randy's book, it's amazing, but things are changing. Times are changing, and the people are expanding. And there's a lot of excitement out there. People are more open to learning about themselves than ever before. Like my mom.
Is that how you feel?
Yes.
You do?
Yeah.
That's good.
I feel like the more that I am opening and expanding and I feel great and things are really good.
It's probably you're attracting that.
Yes. And it's great.
Right.
I love it. And it's
Do you believe in the universe in that way? That how you vibrate and where your head's at and where your space is?
I'm nodding my head yes
dictates-
for anybody that can't see me,
Yeah.
obviously. But yes, I do believe it. Like with I believe that my thoughts definitely create my reality. And I believe that it has in the past. And I believe that those are the brick walls. And I believe that those are the things that would have kept me from receiving the things that are mine to have.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where I am right now. And it's a really fun ride. I'm really stoked to be on it. Like I'm having a really fun ride with it. I've read countless self-help books, countless. And it would always get me into a place where I was beating the crap out of myself because I wasn't achieving the things that I wanted to achieve. And then once I realized, oh God, everything is already inside me. You know what I mean? I just got to believe it. It's like,
So isn't that the heaviest part? Because I think I've traveled to very far distances to have that belief system, that faith system. And I don't remember, it's been probably 2 years since I've read the last lecture, but I think he touches on, God a little bit, but I don't remember there being it's not religious, even though
No.
he's a dying man.
Yeah.
He doesn't really speak to the afterlife or faith.
No.
I think mainly probably because he's a science guy as well. But I think that
That's true. He's probably atheist.
the belief system that I think that he speaks to is really self-belief, and having the faith
Mind over matter.
in this
Yeah.
overall universe that like things will come to you as they're meant to. And I can do that most of the time, but I've had those moments where I really just, the circumstances surrounding me are just so seemingly dire that then I lose sight of that belief. And then that's when the people that surround you, because he speaks to that as well,
Right.
like you were saying about not being able to achieve things on your own,
Uh-huh.
that he literally says, when we're connected to others, we become better people.
Right. And it depends. And when we're connected to others, we become better people. But who are those people that you're being connected
Well,
to, and how does that feel?
Well, I mean,
Yeah. What he's saying.
I'm assuming he's
Yeah.
speaking to, especially at his age, and and at my age, I feel like I've gotten smarter at who
Yeah.
I
It happens.
surround myself with.
Yeah. It's so true. But then when you start to shift your mind, the things and the people and the conditions that are seemingly so weird or not okay or don't feel good happen less and less.
Yeah.
And you're not as focused on those conditions. But when you are focused on the conditions, it kind of brings more in. And that's kind of a belief system too. That
That's 100% right. And I feel too, like at this moment in time, like romantically, it's not like happening for me. Like I'm not like meeting that thing. I'm not having that experience. I feel the other day I was just at home and I was like, this just might be it.
you're just going to get some cats and call it a day.
Never. Nor am I getting a minivan. Never. There are some things that I'm never going to have or do the stereotype thing.
Right.
But it was about just there was something that shifted in me that just got into acceptance that, you know what, it's okay if there isn't that other person. I don't love it, but it's really okay. And I do believe that whatever I'm going through right now, and this is the hardest part to think. I mean, and the fact that I'm saying this out loud is just kind of incredible. I'm surprising myself. The difficulty that I'm experiencing in this particular area in my life, I can't manipulate, control, or change. But I can accept it, and I can just be like, you know what? It's really not as bad as maybe I had projected it to be. It is okay to have my California king size bed all to myself and my two dogs, even though I find myself on like the smallest sliver of the mattress because of my dogs. But it's really okay. I don't need that to fill me. I'd like it and I want it, but under the right conditions. And I keep telling myself that this is so hard in some ways but it's getting easier. But I said, it's going to be so amazing when it does click. Like, I can't believe I'm so excited for when it does click, because I know that there's a reason for this. I know there's a purpose behind it. I don't know what the purpose is, but I'm sure it's a good one.
I love that you're there.
Because it's always been good in the past.
I really love that you're there, and I love that you can feel the excitement of it, because that's what brings in the good shit. It's the feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's got to
not focusing on the condition of what you don't have, you know, but focusing on the excitement of what's to come. Boom.
Boom.
I love it.
And that's when you get to be in the now. That's when you get to be in the possibility of the unknown.
Yeah.
And you're not living in the past, and you're not living in the future. You're just kind of like, this is what it is. And I'm really open and excited about being open.
I love that. And let me just tell you, I have a queen size bed. So I'm going to come over to your California king.
We'll cuddle.
And I will cuddle with you with the dogs. And I'll bring my dog.
Beagle boy.
And I'll bring the beagle. And it'll be amazing.
My girlfriend, I saw on her Insta story, she runs Groomed LA. This is a shout out to Emily. She had the cutest blanket that is a weighted blanket with puppy dogs on it. And it's supposed to be like this comfort blanket that takes place for, single people.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's the cutest thing, because it's a bunch of puppies.
Oh my God.
And like my actual puppies
funny.
and then a bunch of puppies. Like, I haven't actually gone out and bought one, but I'm not opposed to it.
No, it doesn't.
I mean,
I'll go buy one with you.
Maybe that's why I make my apartment freezing cold and I pile like 10,000 blankets
Your
on
apartment is a freezing cold.
I love it cold.
It's so
At
cold.
night when I sleep. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. It is cold, but it's nice. It's nice. I like it cold
Sure
too.
it is.
No, it is, because
like,
when we watch movies and stuff, it's cozy. But then when you have to go to the bathroom, it's like, fuck.
I bare my bottom right now. Jesus, chilly.
So we're gonna wrap it up here. Is there anything you want to talk about, promote? Anything you got going on?
Oh God, the dreaded question.
I mean,
I have a lot of stuff that I'm doing, and I'm in so many different directions right now. Like, I wrote a short that I'm trying to direct, and I am really scared to death. Like this is a wall for me.
I
Like
love
this is
for
those.
you.
This is one of those moments where like I'm stuck. Like I literally feel like I just don't know what the next indicated step is.
We'll talk about it later.
I'm getting a lot of counsel and from some really, I've met some really impressive people that have kind of taken me under their wing and kind of made wonderful suggestions. And Norman Buckley, a director that I spoke to about this a year ago, I mean, he's like, you know, I've pursued and I now it's just a matter of like, all you have to do is just do it. That's just really
all it is.
It's really just about stop being in the fear, stop letting the wall of fear get in your way. And you're like, is it going to be good enough? Weren't we just talking about that?
Yes.
Am I going to be good? Like, can I have
I enough?
also
Yeah.
really what it's about is me having a preconceived idea of how it should be, an expectation of how it's supposed to go. Like,
course.
and what was so great is I had this amazing conversation with an Oscar-winning director, Tony Bill, who did The Sting.
Oh,
and he and I were talking, and I met him through a friend.
He's an old man, right?
He's an older gent.
No, but he's he's older. Like he's like in his 70s
I never
or
want
80s.
to say that about people. But he's definitely in his 70s.
He'd say
I don't
I'm
know.
an old guy. If that's the same guy, I don't know if
I'm
is.
sure it is. So anyway,
She's like, shut up.
We're talking about the same person, I'm sure. But anyway, we had a great conversation, and
He's
he
super old.
He gave me. I hope to God he never hears this. He gave me really great advice, and it was just really sort of, you don't need, because I'm very methodical about things. Like even when I approach an acting job, I write it out. The way I go about memorizing lines, I have a coaching lesson, I break it down, then I write it out 900 times, then I toss a pillow and recite it, and then I go to set, okay, so that I can just actually like take all the information in, and then I can let it go. But it's very regimented in what I have to. I'm very regimented. Have you met me? So when I when I approach in directing, I'm thinking I have to have it all figured out. Like I have to have every shot in my mind. And Tony literally just said to me, "Why?"
Yeah.
And it blew my mind.
Yeah.
Because I had this preconceived idea of like, but I'm the leader and I have to know every cotton picking thing. He goes,
Yeah.
but what if you're in the moment and you change your mind? You have to be ready for change, or the actor does something spontaneous, or you have a conversation that inspires a different shot, or the DP has an idea that, and I'm like, oh, make room for someone else to have an idea.
Yeah.
So it was like a whole personal metaphor,
Totally.
and a professional
Analogy
metaphor
for life and
for life.
everything
Like,
else.
oh, leave room for the other person. Oh, there you go.
How great is that? And that's like,
Amazing.
and sometimes you just, but see, the thing is you know all of that inside of you. And it's
I
so
do.
great that somebody else was able to mirror that and go, hey, by the way, you already know this. I'm
You
just
do.
going to remind you. And that's
and it's
why it
from
clicked.
who it came from. So
Yeah.
it came with a certain level of respect and authority where
Ancient
I could go,
wisdom.
Ancient. You're like Trump. You're obsessed with age. And
I'm totally kidding.
I know,
He's
I know.
totally like a 6 on the scale. No, I'm totally kidding. I don't think it's the same guy. I think
It
the
is.
guy, okay.
It is. There are not a lot of, ancient directors that, won Academy Awards and have two first names for a name.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that's kind of like my focus right now. What's going on with me is, aside from other stuff,
I'm really
and
excited
acting,
about this
but
for you.
This is where my passion is. This is what's lighting my fire and getting me through what I'm focusing on.
Oh my God, I'm so excited for that for you. And where can
Thanks.
people find you on social media? Because they're going to be following you and doing things. It's
Aw.
what?
Okay, so on Instagram, I'm at Charisma, spelled with a K, and it's Karazma. And then on Twitter, it's at All Charisma. And Facebook, it's Charisma Carpenter Official.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, did you have fun?
I did. I
This
love
was like
talking to you.
This was a really fun conversation.
Well,
I really
it was
liked it.
deep. I don't know if there were as many laughs as you would want, because I know.
No.
But I think
We talked about a super old dude, and then we had some good chuckles about that,
about how deficient I am in personal relationships.
No, it's really great, and I would love to have you come back and
Anytime. I'm always here
all
for you.
of that. I know, and we're gonna go get, and we're gonna wrap this up
We're gonna
so
go eat.
Charisma and I can go get some lunch. Thank you guys for listening. I'm sitting here
Is
with
this
my
live?
huh?
Is it like broadcasting live?
No, we're
No,
gonna
we'll edit.
It's gonna go up tomorrow, which is Friday. So that's going to be really exciting. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. You have been listening to I'm Fine with Krista Allen. Me. Bye.
Hey, it's Zen Zenith,
And I'm Jake Lloyd.
and we're here to talk about Dragon Wagon Radio. This podcast you're listening to right now is a podcast on the Dragon Wagon Radio Network.
Yes, it's a network that you and I started out of a desire to give voice to artists who maybe didn't have the platform previously to do a show the way that they want to do it.
You can find it all online at dragonwagonradio.com.
It's Dragon Wagon.